Hello, everyone. Welcome to another My Music. Today is all about getting to know you, getting to know all about Anne Buckle, who we will be speaking to very shortly after this little break. We haven't even started, but we're having a break already from Analog Tracking.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
And Anne is coming all the way from. Are you actually in Nashville?
Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee. This is
She's
downtown right here.
in Nashville, Tennessee. You see, a lot of people in the UK, you see, that looks like a high-rise office building, right? A
Yeah.
lot of people in the UK, when they think of Nashville, are probably still thinking of like cowboys and like open plains and stuff like
Definitely
that.
not.
No,
I think you can
definitely
see
not.
our football stadium here for like US football, the
Yeah, yeah.
NFL. Yeah, we are very city.
We love the NFL here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we do. Particularly the music part of it. You know, we
Yeah.
love. We don't understand the rest of it at all.
Honestly, I don't either. For no
There
other
are
reason.
some people. I'm going to get shot here, but there are some people over here that think they understand it. There are probably some people here that really do understand it. Most of the time, people here pretend they understand it, but they really don't. You know,
Yeah.
it's a bit like the rules for a lot of card games.
Yeah.
People just make it up. You know, you ever played card games with people like that?
Yes.
Where they go, right, and you're midway through and you go, hang on, what did you just do?
Right.
Oh, that's the rules.
Oh,
That's not the rules I've ever played. Ah, well, that's the real rules.
that actually feels like the NFL to me too.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, wait, what just happened? Oh, well, this happens when this happens. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Have you ever dated an NFL football player, or you?
Definitely not.
No.
Definitely not.
Is
And
that
I'm
is that
married to a
completely off your?
so we're in the arts.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just yeah. Otherwise, what would you talk about, really? Now, before we came on, you were asking me where I was, and I said I'm in Somerset, which for people in your part of the world, if they're listening back to this later, is in the southwest. So you did mention that you'd been to, or you knew of Bath. How did you know about Bath? What?
Yeah. Well, when I was in college, university over here, I studied abroad for a semester. So, like 6 months in Paris, France. And my roommate was from Bath. And her name's Sarah, and she's lovely. And I think I owe her a message back on WhatsApp right now. So, if Sarah, if you're listening, hi.
Sarah. And just wants to say hello, and she'd love to visit sometime soon if you're still in Bath. Bath's a beautiful place.
That's what she said, and that they had, I guess Jane Austen is from that area, so
that's right.
really
There's
neat.
the Jane Austen Museum in Bath.
Oh, I'd love to go to that sometime.
And there's obviously the Roman baths.
Yep.
Where people used to bath. A bit too publicly, really. We probably wouldn't, go with that these days. I don't know. Maybe actually we're getting back towards that sort of.
I think you're right.
Now, I think we've kind of gone through a period of being really kind of prude and, standoffish about a lot of things, and now we seem to be going back towards a more sort of open liberal society that probably would get towards, open bathing again at some point. Not sure that I'd want to, but I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that might enjoy that.
Well, I had England on my brain this weekend because I just played a music festival in Virginia in a place called Bristol. And I think it's named Bristol after Bristol over in the UK. So I was just kind of thinking about that because in Bristol, it's one of the oldest towns we have in the South, and they have some beautiful old architecture, and it kind of feels just a little bit old world. And I don't know, I was thinking, wow, I bet the people who settled here all came from England and Ireland and Scotland. And so
I
I had
reckon
that on.
that's entirely the case. It actually confuses me a lot. I think I saw that on your Instagram. I think
Yeah,
I
you're like,
saw
wait,
the
she's
old,
over here.
but yeah, exactly. I thought, oh, you're just up the road. That's
Oh,
kind of,
Bristol, Virginia.
but actually, that happens a lot because you've nicked a lot of names
Oh,
over there,
100%.
right?
It's wild how many names just come from, and I think it's kind of cool. It shows that the people who came here probably came from those places, which is also ironic that they left the place for some reason. They probably didn't
But
want to
they
stay
then
there.
go and
They
name somewhere.
named it
Yeah,
the same place.
I know. It's
Yeah.
almost like, yeah, I loved it back home. Loved it so much I left and went right round the other side of the world.
And then named it.
But then I named it after the
Yeah.
place that I came from, just in
Yeah.
case I get homesick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you have
funny.
you have a Newport as well, don't you? Which
Yeah, we
is
have, I mean, we have everything. Really.
which
We have
is you know,
Paris. We have
yeah,
Paris, Tennessee, Paris, Texas, Paris, Georgia. We have Lebanon, Tennessee, Lebanon, Missouri, and we say it Lebanon, not Lebanon, you know. So if it
yeah.
exists in the world, we have it here in America.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it when we have American guests on because we learn something about your culture that, you know, I think there's a lot of things that we think about different places over there, as I said about, you know, Nashville and whatever,
Yeah.
that aren't real. It's like I had an artist on the other day from Philadelphia, and I said, "What do you think that people in the UK think of immediately when it comes to Philadelphia?" And they were listing this off, and I said, "No, it's normally cheese. It's that soft cheese that we have in all of our supermarkets called
Oh,
Philadelphia."
wow. That's so funny. The cream cheese. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
that's
I
the
think the Liberty Bell and the Constitution and the founding
that's what they were
fathers.
saying, and I was like, "No, we don't think of anything like that. We just think of your soft cheese, sometimes with chives, sometimes with a bit of garlic in it."
That is really good cheese. I mean, I have some in
It,
my fridge right now. So
it is, of course, all of our supermarkets over here produce a cheaper version as well. So you've got to be really posh to buy the actual Philadelphia.
that's really funny because here it's not an expensive cheese. That's like the cheap one.
No, really.
Yeah.
Oh, right. No. Over
All the
here,
expensive
that's
cheeses are
about
the
a
French
pound
cheeses.
more. That's about a pound more than the cheap version.
Well,
Yeah.
look at that.
Look at that. There you
America.
go. Tell me, what got you into music in the first place?
Well, it's funny. I just came from Bristol. My mother's side of the family that I come from, were all the music people, and they go back to the early 1900s. I come from a
Wow.
family called the Carter family,
Yeah.
and they were AP, Sarah, and Maybelle Carter. They lived in a little town called Hiltons, Virginia, and there was this big talent competition in Bristol in 1927, and Ralph Peer decided to record acts that he thought were good, and the Carter family made the 20-mile trek. I think it took them a whole day to get there, and they recorded some of the first recordings that became the country music genre.
I've got
And
to
so,
ask you about this. How were
yeah,
the recordings made? Because that's at that time, right? That was a skill in itself. Did they have like one
yeah.
of those discs
Yeah,
things?
it would. Yeah, I think they used like some kind of recording technology, but it was vinyl at the time. So there were already recordings happening in New York and London and other places, but nobody had
Wow.
really captured the music of the South. And people knew that there was cool music being made. A lot coming. What's so cool about country music is all the instruments came from Europe and Africa. The banjo's African, the mandolin, the violin, the guitar, all from Europe. And then people here just kind of discovered a new way to play them and made it their own. And so country music really has deep roots in the migration story of the people who came to this country. So yeah, the Carter family, AP, Sarah, and Maybelle were my great aunts and uncles. And my mom grew up in that part of the world. And like the most famous of them was June Carter, who married Johnny Cash. So when I was little, I got to know them.
Wow.
And I always knew I wanted to do music. And two of my uncles had a recording studio in Bristol. And I just learned at this festival this weekend that it's going to close down in December. And it's been going for like 40 years. So I was a little bit sad and I kind of said goodbye to it.
Can we
But
not
yeah,
look? Can we not stop that? Can we not, start a fund and
I mean, both of
just?
my uncles who owned it have died, and it's in new
Oh,
ownership, so it's of the past. It happens,
mm,
but yeah, it was really cool to be back there because that's really where it all started for me as a kid, watching my uncles record music and watching my aunt sing gospel music and being around Johnny Cash and June Carter on their porch of their home playing music with them, and that's where I got the love for it. Yeah,
well,
so that's
I'm not in any surprise there. Wow.
yeah, that's how I got into it, and
What was the coolest thing ever then that Johnny Cash ever played to you on the guitar? Go on, tell us. What's like
Most of the time when I would visit them, they wanted me to play for them because I
really?
was like 12 years old and I was learning violin was my main instrument, and they all thought
Oh,
that was so cool. People love the fiddle. So, I have a really cool picture of him holding my music book while I'm playing for him in June.
what
I'll
were you
send it out
playing?
to
Do
you.
you know? Do you know what the song was?
It would have been like I know what book it was. It was like I studied Suzuki violin, which is like the
Mm,
classical style, and it
mm.
was just some song I was working on that I wanted to show them. And I think
Wow.
it's just really cute and like how humble of him to be holding the music book of this 12-year-old while she plays violin for him. So yeah, usually we would just kind of visit with them with my grandma, my great aunt. They're just cousins, so we would just visit and talk about, the weather and the people down the street and
You say that. I mean, but people are people first, aren't they? And
yeah,
isn't
they are.
that isn't that a wonderful thing? It's
Yeah.
it's a bit like, and you'll get me started in a minute, but it's a bit like why I get a bit peeved off with like PR and by the way, folks, I'm not talking about some of the lovely PR people that do actually send me acts for this show because otherwise I'm going to get in real trouble. There are some lovely people in PR and management out there, but there are also some absolute idiots who gatekeep everything. And sometimes you want to say, I've had conversations with artists, and artists have said, or have actually approached me and said, "I'd love to come and do a talk with you because you ask great questions. It always sounds so conversational." And then I'll talk to their management, and their management go, "No, they're only doing this." And you go, "What?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Don't you know who my artist is?" And I'm like, "Yeah, they're a person."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and we'd like to do two people talking to each other. And you just think it's actually quite often and I just want to put that out there for the record, it's not actually artists sometimes that are A, the gatekeepers, and B, the people with the
Right.
egos. It can be the other people in the industry,
Yeah, I think so,
which
for
is
sure.
sad, you know, because
Yeah, like
I've
Johnny
met a lot of great people,
Cash
great
couldn't
artists.
oh, sorry.
No, 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 no. I'm just saying I've met a lot of great artists over the years, and quite often they are just, people that other people may have bigged up to be quite awkward, and are just genuine, down to earth people
Yeah,
that.
and that was my experience with Johnny Cash and June Carter. They were just really down to earth people. June loved to go antique shopping, and, she loved to eat a good cheesecake somebody brought her over, and, like, they were just really, really sweet people.
Cool. Did you ever get the recipe for the cheesecake?
I don't know that she made the cheesecake. She just loved cheesecake.
We love a good cheesecake here.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cheesecake?
I like anything with chocolate in it. So we have
Do
a
you?
restaurant in America called the Cheesecake Factory, and
Oh yeah.
it's good food. And then they have a lot of different flavored cheesecakes. Oh, now that it's fall, they have a really nice pumpkin cheesecake. But they have a Godiva chocolate cheesecake, and that one's pretty good.
Yeah, we do love a cheesecake here. My family, one of the favorite ones that my wife makes for the boys, because we've got 5 kids, and some of the eldest boys, their favorite is Bailey's cheesecake. You know Bailey's, the drink?
Yeah, Bailey's is
Mm.
so good. That'd be a good cheesecake, a Bailey's
Oh,
cheesecake.
it's just so good.
Mm.
Folks, if you want a recipe for that, just write in and I'll let you know. You might struggle to make it as well, but maybe
Yeah, I was
I'll
just
get.
thinking when I come to Bath to visit Sarah, I'm going to come by your house and have your
Yeah,
wife. give me a slice of
If
her
you come to our, and I've threatened this with other musicians, and actually, it has happened. If you come this way, we are very close to the sea, so we're quite close to Lyme Regis. Which, if you go and Google Lyme Regis afterwards, I don't think you
Okay.
have a place in America called Lyme Regis, so I think you'll be all
I don't
right.
think so, actually.
No, it's where Tessa the D'Urbervilles was based around. All right, we're quoting. Look at us quoting fabulous pieces of literature on
I
this
mean,
show.
yes.
So it's where Tessa the D'Urbervilles was based. And actually, if you've seen the latest Willy Wonka film, did you see the
Yes.
Willy?
Yes,
Yes.
that was excellent.
There's a whole scene in there where they're out at sea and there's like a big cob that goes out into the sea. That's filmed at Lyme Regis.
Oh, that's really
The
cool.
whole crew from Willy Wonka came over here to film that. Anyway, it's delightful, and of course the fish and chips there are amazing, and they're literally fresh. It's caught that morning and then cooked. Yeah,
That sounds
that's proper fish and chips. So really,
Yes.
we should do fish and chips, maybe followed by cream tea, which is very Somerset. You know what cream tea is?
I don't.
Okay, it's scones. You know what a scone is? Like a drop. Yeah. Scones and cream. Scones, jam, and cream, and you have to put it in the right order in order to.
Okay.
Yeah, depends whether you're.
I love this.
How many instruments do you play then?
Well, I play
we
my
know
main
the
thing is
fiddle.
violin. Yeah, violin,
Yeah.
fiddle, which is almost two instruments because you can play it as a violin or you can play it as a fiddle, country, right? And then mandolin, which is really similar to violin, same strings, just double of each, and you play it like a guitar. And then I play banjo, and mostly if you catch me at a show, I'm playing a guitar or a piano because that's just easier to sing your own songs with. And then ukulele, but I don't often play that. That's just kind of for fun.
So when you play instruments like that, I want to know how aware have you been, sort of growing up in music, how aware have you been of sort of the English folk scene? Because obviously over here, a lot of those instruments won't necessarily be seen as associated with a country scene because we haven't until more recently had a big country scene, but they've always been associated with sort of English folks, sort of roots folk music. Yeah. So are you aware of people like, especially with something like fiddle, are you aware of someone else that's been on the show before now, Eliza Carthy?
No.
Okay.
I gotta look up the music.
Again, the similarity, here's the similarity. So she's from a big family strain that have continuously made music for years and years and years, right? Which is the Waterstones family, and so it'd be that could be really interesting, couldn't it?
Would be interesting.
Be
And
really
she's English?
interesting. Yeah. She's got I'm going to say MBE. Yeah, she's got an MBE from the Queen.
Wow. What a cool. Okay, a lot of Americans are obsessed with British royalty because we don't have royals, so we think it's so cool. And actually, my last name Buckle is English. My family originally was from like the Kent area by London.
I was going to say it sounds a bit English, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we've traced it
Right.
back. And I think the Buckle, we actually came to America in the 1600s, and my mom was a Carter, and so they came over in the 1600s to Virginia. So my family's been in America for hundreds of years, but before that, it was all England, Scotland, Ireland. So I feel very connected deeply to the cultures. And I had this really funny experience. So I have freckles and green eyes, brown hair. There's not too many people that look like me. I kind of have a unique look. And my bachelorette party, I was in a pool in Mexico, and there was this girl who looked just like me. And we both looked at each other, and all our girlfriends were like, whoa, she was from Kent in England. And we were like, we might be cousins because we look just alike.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
I feel very
crazy.
connected.
it's strangely enough, actually, there's a large part of my family from Kent originally as well. Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we're cousins too.
More of my family are from Cornwall,
Okay.
right down in the south of England. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of relatives from the Kent area. Yeah, I'm just thinking like, yeah, if we could put you in touch with like someone like Eliza, and then see whether, I mean, I think it would be a beautiful album sort of idea to like
Yeah.
explore, maybe like half explore folk music roots in the UK, and then explore sort of country roots into America, and just kind of blend the two.
I think
That'd
that
be
would
brilliant.
be so fun. Even getting on a Zoom with her and just co-writing and seeing what we get would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You make it Instagram.
Seriously. There we go. This could happen, folks.
Yes.
Have you played any folk festivals over here? Have you played any?
I haven't, and it's a dream of mine to get over to the UK and France because I studied French and I love that culture as well. So it's definitely on my list. Yeah, definitely on my list to do some festivals in both places, and not quite there yet, but getting there.
Which part of France?
I lived in Paris and I studied at the Sorbonne, and then I have since also I lived in Nice for a little while.
Right.
I
Nice.
actually kind of prefer South France. I think that
Yes.
it's kind of like the Southern United States. The people are really friendly, really warm, very family. Whereas Paris feels a little more like New York or LA or even Nashville now, kind of. But it's kind of like city people, you know, and I love that too. But I just found such like warmth and hospitality in Provence and Côte d'Azur. So,
well, we went to a wedding last year in Béziers in the south of France, and we kind of fall in love with it. So we're going back again next year.
Oh, I love that.
It's a really, really nice part of France.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, it's kind of just south of Montpellier area. It's a lovely part of France. It's kind of, it's more open.
Mhm.
It's not as crowded. It feels a bit more rural. Yeah, it's nice, very nice.
Yeah.
And it just it felt very, as you say, people felt very warm there as well.
And the accents are different, and that was really fun to see because I had studied Parisian French, and then coming down to South France, I was like, whoa! And then I started my accent changed when I was there, and I kind of developed that. And I think that's very much like the United States, and the Northeast and West Coast has a very certain accent, and then people in the South usually have a little bit of a drawl. I don't really talk like that, but like up in Bristol this weekend, everybody had a really beautiful Southern accent. So, yeah.
Are you drawn more towards? I mean, looking out the window, it looks quite, urban, etc. But are you drawn more towards sort of a sort of more laid back approach to life, or do you like everything on your doorstep, or are you kind of a mixture of both?
I'm kind of a mix. I think I like balance. So I like to have, I think for my daily life, like I live in a condo downtown, so it's just easy. There's no grass, there's no yard, there's no animals or bugs. It's easy. But then I also love to get out in the country. And like when I was in Bristol, it was just stars everywhere and rolling green hills. And so I like a blend, but I think I have
what helps you most in terms of writing? Is it
experiencing life? Yeah, experiencing life. It's like art imitates life, life imitates art. You have to just experience things. And even this weekend, I was driving back home. It's about a 5-hour drive yesterday, and I had a whole song come to me while I was driving from my experience in that town. And you got to get out and do stuff.
Yep. Do you know what? I talk to people about that all the time. I run a social media marketing business, and people say to me, "Oh, everyone's fascinated these days with content, right? Everybody, they just want to know what they should be writing about." And I say, forget content, forget what should I be writing about. Just go out there and live.
Yeah.
Right. Go out there and do it, because once you go out there and do it, you've got content.
Exactly.
Do you agree?
I totally agree. And it's the same with songs you write. you're going to get the idea for the songs from living, from doing it, whether it's being in relationships with people or just experiencing things. That's where you're going to get the ideas. Otherwise, it's just contrived. It won't come across as real,
No. And it can be silly things as well, can't it? It's
Totally.
sometimes, yeah, I love that. I do a
Totally.
post every morning, which is a bit of a poll on one platform, and I've done it every day for about 4.5 years now, something like that. Heading towards 5 years. And I don't know what I'm going to do until the day, and it can be literally coming down in the morning and just finding that we've bought a different cereal for breakfast, or reading a headline in the newspaper, or anything, and it just like but people are probably the best inspiration, and people's weird actions as well. I mean, are you a people watcher? Do you love, like, sitting in places where you just watch a lot of people, and does that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that Bristol Rhythm and Roots Festival that I was at this weekend is the best place for that. I mean, there's all kinds of kinds. And yeah. Yes. Actually, that's what kind of my song was about. Because my family, I have a lot of family who still lives in that area, and they cause a lot of drama. And I got the idea for the song that I got yesterday was, the smaller the town, the bigger the drama. And I started writing it, and the whole song, I decided to use names of people in our family who've passed, because they're really fun old names. Selma, Marianne, Cecil, Juanita. And it's like this intertwined story of all these people, like a little tiny thing that happened, and it turns into a big deal because it's a small town, and drama just gets bigger in small towns. So that was kind of what I took away from this weekend. Yeah.
I love that. Sounds like there could be a book in there at some point.
It could be a book in there.
Yeah, definitely a film. Have you ever thought about writing for film?
I've been working on what I call a musical for the last couple of years, but I've never saw it as a musical as much as I have a film. So my idea is to do kind of like a short film with it that is music, but there's images behind it. But that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money. So we'll see. It's going to probably start as an album, and then we'll see what it can turn into.
No, it shouldn't do. And here's the key to all of that is collaboration. Always. Yeah. We've talked about that several times on here with artists, and I've suggested, like, getting in touch with students, maybe at a university or something like that. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Right when you said collaboration, a person came to mind who he loves to create films, and he's great at it. And I was like, oh, you're right. Why didn't I think of that before?
Just reach out, collaborate collaborate with someone, and just go, like, you do this and that. And actually, some people have done some really cool stuff like that. I mean, I know someone did they did an album, and they collaborated with an artist who did a whole load of visual art, and then they put it on rather than do like a traditional album launch, they did a art opening exhibition thing with the music.
So cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's the way to go.
Well,
you get double your money's worth as well as a punter.
Yeah, you're getting so much more. To that point, I'm going to grab something that is in a box over here.
It's in a box, and it's coming out onto your screen.
So I put a song out a few years ago called Firefly. Do you guys have fireflies over there?
Yeah.
Bugs that light up in summertime.
I don't know what I don't know what we call them. Nuisance, pest. Yeah.
Really, we love them here. They're beautiful. In the South, most people call them lightning bugs, but in the Northeast in California, they call them fireflies. And honestly, that's just easier to sing. So that's what I called the song. And a fan heard the song and said, wow, that would make a really good children's book. And I'm not a visual artist, but I collaborated with one to turn the song into a children's book. So it actually came out this summer, and it turned out so beautifully. I'll show you some beautiful. I mean, she just absolutely nailed it. And all the words are just the lyric to the song. So you can listen to the song and then go through the pages. And this festival this weekend, to your point, I sold not a ton of merch, but I sold 10 books and one album. So like,
Yep.
I mean, I was there for music and I sold one album and 10 books. So the bringing together of a couple different art forms just makes it so much more interesting. So that's been a big lesson for me from this latest project, is that when you compare music with film or with art or with writing in a book or something, I think people are just more interested in buying it, because it's not just, I mean, with the streaming nowadays, you don't need to have an album. It's just like a collector piece. There's no real function for it. So making something functional of your art is going to help you be more commercially viable. And that's what
Totally.
this has taught me.
You should check out
for
what.
sale, by the way.
That looks amazing. My
Thank
kids
you.
would love
She
that.
nailed it.
My youngest kids would love that. You should check out what Christian Hirsch, who also has been on here, did with. She released a couple of her albums as books,
Mm.
and very cleverly, she got a book contract rather than a recording contract. So you release the book to try and get a number one book, as opposed to, you know, the album to try and get a number one album. But that's clever, right? Because,
So clever.
you know.
And that's what this has taught me. And I've been able to even get gigs that I wouldn't have otherwise got if it weren't for this book. So it really, in a world where there's so much music noise, it kind of gives you an edge.
I think it's the way forward for a lot of musicians. Again, a little bit like we were speaking about earlier in terms of content, go out and live it, etc. I think these days, you know, artists need to think about, in terms of my content, everybody does here's the single, or here's the EP, then here's the album. So you're competing against everybody else, not in terms of just the music, but in terms of the mechanism. So if you can do it in a different way and go, you know, here's the oil painting, or here's the podcast of the learning experience of the this, of the that, and the whatever, and then intertwined with that somewhere is the music. So that's how you find me. That just, I think people want to see a more interesting route to their art.
I agree.
I could be wrong, but
I mean, anything, you got to just try a bunch of stuff and see what works. So
just try it. Listen,
also, I just had a big typo. I'm not a singer. I'm a singer-songwriter. Like, oh my.
Oh yeah. Just pointing out, just down there, just so you
guys know, I'm not a singer. I don't know what a singer is, but I'm not that.
Well, maybe you are. Maybe you're starting a new, not, you know, it's like a new thing, just like a new trend to be a singer songwriter. Yeah,
singer-songwriter. I like it.
Or maybe you just have mild dyslexia. Either one will do.
Either one.
For people that have just heard you talk over the last half an hour, thank you. I could talk to you all day, but unfortunately, we're kind of out of time. Where should they go now to start exploring the beauty that is Anne Buckle's music?
Thank you for pointing them there. I think if you're on Instagram, Anne Buckle Music is a great place. Facebook, they'll all kind of lead you. My website, annebuckle.com, will take you anywhere you want to go. But you can find me anywhere. YouTube, we've got videos. By we, me. I tend to talk about myself in like the plural. I feel like there's a team of people that are inside. Anyway, everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, you can find it. I've got all my music out anywhere. So just search my name.
Do it. I love that. I think someone should write that as a song sometime, by the way. Just search my name. That sounds like a great title for a song, doesn't it? And almost would get people doing just that as part of it.
Yeah.
Clever. But it could be kind of like a romantic story about, you know, just trying to find somebody. I like that.
I like it too.
I've written that already, and I haven't even started putting any chords down. Fantastic, and it's been fantastic. Please do go and check out Eliza Carthy after this as part of
Yeah.
that's your musical exploration for you.
Yeah, I can't wait to
All
look her up.
And folks, I want you to go and check out the wonderful music of Anne now as well, so that you can go on a journey with her, and hopefully we get her over here to the UK at some point to play some music for all of us, which would be
And
fantastic.
to explore my own roots, because they're all there. That's
Exactly.
find my long lost cousins
Let's
like me.
not deny her roots, you know, because every woman needs good roots. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Folks, this has been the My Music. Thank you so much for joining us. If you've enjoyed this, please do the sharey, likey thingy, all that sort of thing. Press the buttons and all of that. If you haven't enjoyed it, sorry for wasting 35 minutes of your time. You can get it back, however, by writing to a group of gnomes who live on an island just off of Manhattan. We haven't got the address. You'll have to find that. But if you do manage to catch hold of them, they can give you the 35 minutes back. We will be speaking to you again soon with more My Music. Until then, this has been the wonderful Anne Buckle. Please do go and check our music out. And see you all. Bye for now.